Hey guys, I'm here. Last night I saw The Last Voyage of the Demeter, a film that I've been looking forward to ever since I heard David Dastmalchian talk about it on Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. His passion for this film is what really got me looking forward to it long before I ever saw a trailer for it. And once the trailers come out, it definitely had this visual style that pulled me in, even though the trailer's use of bullet with butterfly wings was a little on the nose. I still thought it looked decent enough, but I was really excited to check this movie out. I know it's getting a lot of mixed reviews. I honestly really enjoyed it from beginning to end. This is the story of the Demeter. The story is based around the Captain's Log chapter of Bram Stoker's Dracula and kind of gives us the life of the crew of the Demeter. It is the ship that transported Dracula to London. The film's directed by André Øvredal. This is the first film by him that I've seen. And I think as far as direction goes, he did a really good job on this film. I thought it flowed so nicely. I thought everybody was handled beautifully and put into the positions that they needed to give the best performances that they could, because I really did appreciate the performances in this, which I'll touch on here in a moment. The screenplay was written by Bragi Schut Jr., who has done things like the Escape Room films, The Samaritan, and oddly enough, a bunch of Ninjago movies to kind of show you that range that they've got there. And then Zach, I'm going to butcher this name, Zach Olkewicz, who has done things like Bullet Train, which I really did enjoy, and Fear Street Part 2, which is honestly my favorite of the Fear Street. So a lot of this gets balanced out. It does at times feel like it's got some stuff to say that it wants to add into the conversation. There's some really interesting exchanges between certain characters, but other times it does feel like we're relying a lot on default stock phraseology that comes from these kind of period piece stories, especially within this genre. So there's a lot of things people are going to say that just feel like that's just the default NPC response at times. I really think that the actors do most of the lead work. Corey Hawkins is our lead in this. He is a doctor down on his luck and is looking for any kind of work and finds himself joining the crew of the Demeter as they make port and pick up their cargo to head out to London. He's pretty much our focal lens through this entire thing. He's a bit of a non-believer. He's the type of person that needs the world to make sense. So when these things start happening, it becomes very challenging. Liam Cunningham, which you may know from Game of Thrones, he was Davos. He's the ship's captain, and he was great. I think we know, anybody who's watched Game of Thrones knows he's a solid, fantastic actor. We've seen him in all kinds of stuff outside of that as well, but I think that's the thing most people are going to know him from. He just feels like a captain, man, and he really sells that image. He really has this kind of great little warm demeanor about him as well. He's got his grandson on there with him as well, who is also a great little character who has a lot to do in the movie. I think that he was played by Woody Norman was his name. I don't know that I don't think I've seen him in anything else. You may have seen him in Cobweb that just came out. I haven't seen that film, but he was just in that. And then, of course, the entire reason I was sold on this film to begin with, even long before I got a trailer for it, was David Dastmalchian. I think he brought his A game. Obviously, he was very passionate about this story, about being involved with the script, and he did a fantastic job. While not the central character, he's very much involved and wrapped up in every inch of this film. And there's a whole colorful cast of characters on this ship, as you could expect. From the ship hands to just all the different people running the ship. There's a lot of great little characters. Again, some of them kind of fulfill some kind of stock generic roles, but they still do a really good job at kind of making them feel very lived in and like they're part of this crew that have been together for such a long time. There are one or two performances in the film that didn't wholly live up to what everybody else I felt like were delivering. One of which is one of the main central characters played by Ashley Franciosi. There was just always a little bit of a disconnect between the performances and what was actually transpiring, and the characters kind of pass as you kind of learn more about them throughout the course of the movie. But like, they didn't like drag the movie down or anything like that. The movie really is supported by its visual aesthetic, by its tone, its mood, and by our primary leads. Corey Hawkins, Liam Cunningham, David Dastmalchian, and Woody Norman do a lot of the legwork, really kind of carrying the emotional through point of the film through to its conclusion. And I really like the way that they all kind of bounce off of one another. There's a lot of great chemistry in this film. I think they really handled it all very well. On top of the performances, the mood, the aesthetic, the vibe, the atmosphere, the visuals, I think all help push the story and keep you kind of like clenched to your seat. I really like the design of the creature in the film and the way that they realize it and the way that it functions, hunts, and manipulates its surroundings. It's a lot of fun to see how they play with this different kind of spin on Dracula himself. I think one of my few other critiques is sometimes there are some points throughout the film where I feel like they didn't necessarily need to use CGI where they did. It doesn't take you out of it, but it's just a little noticeable at times. It's in some moments, it's not as solid as others. There are some really solid moments with the creature that look really good. There are some moments where you can kind of be like, that didn't look the best. But the movie is great. I really did have fun with it. I love what they did with this little concept of fleshing out this passage in Bram Stoker's book that hasn't got too much light shed on it, and really kind of gave this life to the Demeter, to its crew, to this voyage, and also played around with some expectations as well. If you know the story, it definitely has a couple of issues, but nothing that really made the film suffer for me. I enjoyed the entire watch, and yeah. Have you guys seen it? What did you guys think? I'd love to hear from you all, so sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. And before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Sherritt, Ryan, Karen, Yori, Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Melito, Robert Aguiano, Jeffrey Hale, M. Sephiroth, Jake and Trail, and Eric Official. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. But that's it for this video, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.